Oh, God, it's been a while, guys. I apologise for the wait, but the video is finally here. And also, while I was gone, I reached 1,000. Well, when I looked, it was 1,003, now it's 1,006 and possibly higher. Thanks, everybody. A stream might happen, but I don't know. I need to ask some people to stream with me in celebration of this. You guys know I always do milestone streams, so I don't know when it's going to happen, probably this Wednesday, but just keep an eye on things and I'll tell you guys when it happens. So anyway, today's video is going to be a response to that horrible MSNBC hit piece on gamers. And just to let you guys know, the reason why I also want to do this is because I was told by Ranting Feminist in that little troll session I had with her on Twitter a while back that, oh, you guys all just think that gamers are oppressed and that everything's going hard for us. And well, you know, when we have hit pieces like this in the media, feminist, I have to wonder, are you just blind, or are you just willfully ignorant, or are you a liar? I mean, when gamers are the most trotted out scapegoat, and I mean, I don't just mean video gamers, I mean tabletop gamers. This has started since the 70s with tabletop gamers. Yeah, I have to wonder, maybe there is some legitimacy to gamers, maybe not oppressed, but certainly being attacked and being demonized. But hey, whatever, it's not happening. Let's watch the video, because it's totally not happening, guys.
Before white supremacists, neo-Nazis, and white nationalists marched in Charlottesville, Virginia in August, they were organizing behind a computer screen. And a lot of that organizing happened through a messaging service called Discord, which was originally created to connect video game players to one another.
Oh dear, strenuous link from MSNBC, because the alt-right happen to use the same platform as certain gaming communities. Therefore, all of a sudden, there must be some link between the two. Just like how, well before Discord, they used to use Skype or TeamSpeak or anything else like that. There must be also a link there. I mean, don't feminists use Skype all the time? I mean, look at all the Skype blogs that have been leaked over the years. I mean, did they have a link to the alt-right now because they both use the exact same platform? Oh wait, no, they don't, obviously, because it's only okay when you guys use them, right? I mean, look at that, it's a graph. So it must be true, guys. This is how stupid they think the American public is.
This is just the latest in the long-running shared history between the gaming community and the alt-right.
Long-running shared history. I'll have you know that the gaming community predates the alt-right by a good 40 years. Probably even longer if we count tabletop gaming. But hey, you know what? Whatever, there's a long-running link now because we have just established via a graph that because of Discord there is now a link. I mean, you can't make it up, can you?
Gaming culture has always been racist, it's always been sexist, but the internet has sort of allowed us to just sort of see what has always been there.
Oh really now? Now this voice is someone called Emma Vossen, which they'll explain in a bit, and basically, we can sum her up as just an Anita Sarkeesian type. That's what she is. She is the typical regressive academic activist, whatever you want to call them, that has been sent into gaming to basically turn it into their own little space for themselves. Now, she keeps saying that it's always been racist, always been sexist. Well, that's funny, because I'm mixed race. I'm a gamer. I've been gaming for almost 20 years. My dad's been gaming for even longer than that. And he's also mixed race. I mean, admittedly, he does a lot less multiplaying than I do. But again, if it was racist, we would not be doing this because we would be excluded from it. But we're not. I've never been racially abused in a game. Ever. If anything, gamers are prejudiced towards people who are posers. So it doesn't matter if you're a fake gamer girl or a fake gamer boy. You can and will be called out for that. An example of a fake gamer boy, because we all know the fake gamer girls, and Anita Sarkeesian, Janin from PBS game show, rest in peace. A prime example of a fake gamer boy. We definitely don't like those people. We also don't like ideologues who are using our hobby as a political tool to smash us with. They are using it to attack us. They're trying to use it to take over. But we don't like that. We don't like the Jack Thompsons on the right, and we don't like the Anita Sarkeesians on the left. We've never liked them. And also, We don't like people who are entitled. I know, isn't it funny coming from a gamer? Well, you see, gamers aren't entitled. If they are entitled, they think they're entitled to being treated well by the industry that they've helped create. I'm talking about skill. I'm talking about people who don't like to get good. I'm talking mainly about these game journalists, because gamers pride themselves on skill. Skill is one of the most important aspects of the community. That's where you get a lot of your respect, and in many ways that should be something that's very commendable, but apparently not. In every other community, it's totally okay for skill to be desirable, to be wanted, to be really good at something. But no, apparently in games it's different these days. That makes you a bigot. And if it does make you a bigot, I think that's probably the least worst bigot you could be. Those are the main things that gamers don't like. But to suddenly say that the gaming community has an issue with racism and sexism when people from all over the world game, and they're both male and female, I have to wonder, how is it racist and sexist? Do they mean American gamers? Do they mean English gamers, Scottish gamers, Anglophone nations, Western nations as a whole? Again, what do they mean by that? Because there are gamers all over the place apart from Antarctica.
Emma Vossen is a PhD candidate studying how sexism seeded in gaming is replicated in the real world.
Now, do they mean from the games to a person, or people online talking to each other? Probably both.
Her study is based on Gamergate, a movement that began with intimidating and harassing female video game journalists under the guise of fairness in video game journalism.
Firstly, that is a lie. It was a consumer revolt against game journalists as a whole, regardless of gender. In fact, most of the main culprits were male, not female, for terrible practices. So, for example, not disclosing prior relationships when they're reviewing games, the attacks on their own community, and the excessive pushing of social justice and other stuff. Although that was more of a bit part, and depending on who you talk to, it was either completely ethics or completely anti-ACW type shit, or a bit of both. For me, it was a bit of both, and I never begrudged anybody for doing what they wanted to do within Gamergate as long as it was legal and fine. And also, by the way, the FBI had to look into Gamergate. They had a very long little investigation and found that 99% of people in Gamergate did nothing. They couldn't find anything. There was no evidence of harassment from Gamergate. There were trolls, but these were people trying to fan the flames. Also, interestingly enough, these tweets, if anybody wants to know what these tweets are, they're the Kevin Dobson tweets. You know, those really suspicious tweets that Anit Sarkeesian found and said that these were claims of Gamergate harassing her? Well, funnily enough, this was an account created in the span of half an hour that she found in an incredibly short amount of time. And not only that, it didn't mention Gamergate. And what MSNBC have done here, have got those tweets, took the Kevin Dobson name out of it, and put hashtag Gamergate over it. How misrepresentative, how slimy, how fake news does this have to be? They have to literally lie to the audience because they've got nothing to stand on.
The harassment quickly gained traction. It helped catalyze the alt-right movement, which secured power and prominence during the 2016 election cycle.
No. The alt-right has very little to do with Gamergate, if anything at all. The alt-right was formed in 2011? Well before Gamergate. And if anything, it was hit pieces like this. It was activism from social justice warriors. It was their attitudes towards white people, their attitudes in general, their opinions, their authoritarian actions that facilitated somewhat of a rise. They don't actually own any power in the United States or any country at all. Actually, they're actually still a fringe group. That's besides the point. There is no link here, and they don't have anything to show that. They can't back that up again. It's just Hitchens razor as usual. If anything, it's just the Republican Party that's in power right now, and even then, the hard left is still entrenched in the universities and many other walks of life, but they'll never admit that.
When you were studying Gamergate and you were really looking at the techniques that they use, it's impossible not to see the same techniques being used by Trump supporters.
Oh, false equivalence. In fact, you can just call this entire piece false equivalence, the news story. Trump supporters use the internet. Gamergaters use the internet. Oh my god, there's a connection. Well, that's funny because feminists also use the internet. Antifa use the internet. So does that mean that they're linked to the alt-right in some way? Again, I could make this false equivalence too. This is the 21st century. The internet is the prime tool to organise political and social events and activism. Duh. That doesn't mean in any way gamers are linked to the alt-right. That is a ridiculous statement to make, that there is no link there, just because they happen to use the same platform.
According to Vossen, the gamers and the alt-right share common ground.
As people who are marginalized are fighting for equality, those who've traditionally had privilege, especially white men, feel that they are being oppressed by these people who are trying to just be treated as equal.
It's funny that when she mentions privilege, because all men, white men included, are subject to the draft. Women, as far as I know if they've actually implemented this yet, are not subject to the draft, and in fact can vote without it. Men had to go out and die by their millions, being conscripted to fight in World War I and other wars around the globe. Apparently that's privilege. Apparently not being able to see your kids because the state only sees the mother as a viable parent is a privilege. Apparently being second best in divorce cases is apparently a privilege. But hey, whatever. We can go on about that. Again, she's basically making a terrible strenuous link to us gamers and the alt-right. She's trying to say that the alt-right think this, therefore gamers must also think this. She has no evidence that all gamers think this or most gamers think like this. She doesn't. And we'll see some examples, and it's only one person or two people. If two people means that all of a sudden the whole gaming community, or at least the American gaming community, is all of a sudden in a similar way as the alt-right, then seriously, you got to do better than that. And what's funny is this is nothing but projection, because they all have a point that right now it is very easy to demonise white people. In fact, white people are being demonised quite a lot, and it seems to be increasing by the year. They are subject to racial hatred, and the social justice warriors, especially the black ones, are racial supremacists. Much like the alt-right, they just happen to back different races, that's all. I would also like to point out that the actual marginalised group here are the gamers, because if gamers are so full of white privilege, at least the male ones, then how come they're being subject to such hit pieces like this? How come for the last 40 to 50 years we've had nothing but this shit? We've been called satanic, we've been called violent, we've been called lazy, and now we've been called sexist, and now all of a sudden we're racist as well. Seriously, that is a group that isn't marginalised, really.
Why do you hate black people? African Americans.
They're dirty, they're stingy, and they're just gross.
How can I even trust this when they've already lied to me? They've actually had to change things from tweets to make it look legit when it isn't. How do I know this is not some people from MSNBC acting? And how do I know this isn't some troll? How do I know this isn't some black guy putting on an accent? We don't know that, do we? But even then, one guy, and gamers are like the alt-right, one guy. And of course he's a southerner.
Xbox Live and PlayStation Network both allow players to chat live while gaming. They have become havens for hate speech against women and minorities.
Oh, boo-hoo, people get subjected to name-calling in an online game. You know what you can do? Mute the fucking game. That's what you have to do. I've lost track the amount of times they constantly attack multiplayer games and Xbox Live and PlayStation Plus and stuff like that for hate speech, when all they have to do is block these people and mute them. And even then, they're not havens for hate speech. Like, what does even constitute hate speech? A little kid just screaming into the microphone, just shouting obscenities to wind people up? Is that hate speech, really? Or is it just someone being an idiot?
What I had noticed and witnessed was what I call like linguistic profiling, like just based on how somebody sounds. You know, they kind of lash out in like very inappropriate ways.
Who votes for Mission? They allow girls to play Call of Duty in America?
Wow, they allow morons to play Call of Duty in America?
Again, it just looks like trolling if it is legit. I don't know if it's legit. I doubt it's legit. They're taking shit like that seriously. Apparently, kids and idiots online trolling people, trying to get a rise out of people, is proof of hate speech. That gamers have a link to the alt-right, that they are, in many ways, the alt-right. Really? You can't do better than that.
Not everyone in the gaming community is sexist or racist. We are having this sort of internal cultural problem with sexist and racist gamers.
It's funny how they use Jason Voorhees killing a black NPC, or is it a player character? I've not played that game. While she's talking about, oh, not all gamers, even though they've literally just spent the last 2.5 minutes actually berating all gamers. But it's funny, apparently we have an issue with sexist and racist gamers, when really we don't have an issue with those people. We have an issue with sexist, racist, hard left types like Emma Vossen and the other one and MSNBC. That's who we have a problem with. These are the people pushing racism and sexism in society and creating fertile ground for the alt-right to appear and create even more racism and sexism. Yeah, what a time to be alive. This is a brilliant timeline.
So, what happens when these behaviors move from the gaming world to the real world? Keegan Hanks studies the progression of the alt-right on the web.
Discord, as a platform, kind of had a meteoric rise in the alt-right. I think many of the members of the alt-right were actually aware of it because they were also members of the video game community. Many of them are. Discord became almost a requirement for a lot of these people if you wanted to be actively involved in the movement.
You know, they don't just use Discord. They can use Twitter, they can use Facebook, they can use Skype, TeamSpeak, anything like that. Why is it Discord? Why? Also, interestingly enough, Discord has actually banned and removed alt-right servers. It's also interesting that MSNBC will not criticise Skype because, lo and behold, who actually owns Skype? Microsoft. I guess corporate interest gets in the way of that. Again, Gamergate's always proven right. They use Discord, some of them happen to play games, therefore the entire gaming community has an issue with sexism and racism, and it's just a front for the alt-right. Some gamers are communists. That doesn't mean that all of a sudden gamers are now this communist thing that must be dealt with. I mean, that would be the opposite end of this if this was MSNBC being more of a right-wing thing. It's absolutely retarded. These false equivalences, these crazy leaps in logic, it's desperate. It's just desperate.
Discord is anonymous and lightly monitored, which allowed the alt-right to control communications and access for thousands of users.
And do you not think that's odd, that the alt-right only want alt-right people in their servers?
Some Discord servers controlled by alt-right leaders made users post pictures of their Caucasian skin in order to participate.
The alt-right are fucking stupid. Imagine my shock.
This allowed the alt-right to centralize its message and disseminate information around the Charlottesville rallies. Discord service played a substantial role in fomenting the riots that led to the death of Heather Heyer.
They used the internet to organise a legal protest which they got permission from, and apparently that's something to do with gamers and Discord, and it's all their fault. Oh, mamma mia!
After facing pressure, Discord shut down the servers used to organize in Charlottesville. The company stated, "We will continue to take action against white supremacy, Nazi ideology, and all forms of hate."
You even admit what I just said, and yet you're still attacking Discord. You fucking morons. So, in the end, what have the alt-right got? They're constantly being under surveillance from Discord. Discord are watching them and trying to root them out of their website, even though that's stupid. And just let them be in their echo chambers and just be stupid and chant blood and soil. In fact, you know what would be better? Just let these guys be open and not face dangers in expressing their views, so we know who they are and we can just ignore them. Or challenge them even. No, apparently we can't have that because this isn't a civilized, sane society. Yeah.
Perhaps not surprisingly, James Alex Fields Jr., the white supremacist charged for Heyer's death, was no stranger to video games. In 2010, his mother filed a complaint against him, claiming he struck her in the head and locked her in the bathroom because she told him to stop playing video games.
You do know that the guy probably did that not because he was a gamer, not because the video games made him violent. This is now a Jack Thompson argument for some reason, but because the guy was a schizophrenic and an unmedicated one at that. But hey, you know what? Whatever, it's the video games that made him do it, not the mental illness. And again, so what? He played Call of Duty. That doesn't necessarily make him a gamer, funnily enough. If all you do is just play Call of Duty, you're not a gamer. You're just a Call of Duty fan. Just like if you just play Angry Birds or Fruit Ninja on the train as a woman, you know, like those people that you guys like put in to say, look, or gay gamers are 50% if not more. Yeah, they're not gamers either. He played one video game that we know of. That doesn't mean he was part of the community. He may be part of the COD community, but then that doesn't reflect badly on the COD community that he happened to play COD. No, it doesn't reflect on anybody. It doesn't even reflect on people with schizophrenia. Whatever, apparently it reflects on gamers. And that's the end of the video, guys. fucking hell, I'm done with the fucking mainstream media. Fuck this. I hope people just continue to plug out. Until next time, it's been your boy. See ya.